Good evening, everyone. I would like to start the public participation of the regular meeting of the Common Council. It is Wednesday, September 27, 2023. The time is now 7 o'clock p.m. We do have 3 that have signed up on the sign-up list. When I call your name, please approach, state your name and address for the record, and limit your time to speak to 3 minutes. If you're a little over, that's fine. First is Frank Chase.
Frank Chase, 24 Roxbury Road, New Britain. I'm asking you to support the Luz Costa resolution funding for the Allen Street Phase 2 project, Oak Street to Beacon Street. Excuse me. This $4 million from the rainy day account will be a good start to help us resolve the flooding issue in our area. As the engineers report, the Allen Street Basin and the Hampton-Eaton subsystem must be upgraded because the system is undersized and deteriorated. On July 21st, 2023, Mark Moriarty told me that the Hampton-Eaton subsystem must be upgraded along with the Allen Street upgrades to further reduce the chances of flooding in our neighborhood. My property at 24 Roxbury is the exact bullseye for flooding which overwhelms our neighborhood during intense rainfall. Since my property sits at the low point in our neighborhood, we are surrounded by flooding water. As I've noted for all of you, we've been waiting for these promised upgrades for 30 years. The record will show that the expenditure schedule for Allen Street Phase 2 is now set for fiscal year 2027 and fiscal year 2028. We can't wait 4 more years. I've heard all about the complexities of public financing, including our state delegation and legislative priorities, reserve accounts, rainy day accounts, capital improvement, budget requests, bonds, grants, FEMA, HMGP, etc. All of the funding deflections must stop today. Identify the money now, get the job done for us. Luz and Costa had the courage to step up and find $4 million for us. I've heard all of the climate deflections as well, including rainfall totals, water table levels, water infiltration, and now be prepared for climate change. My neighbors and I are prepared. However, the city is not prepared in our neighborhood. We want a definitive timeline now with verifiable milestones so we can monitor your progress. Our quality of life and our property values depends on what happens today. We have been deflected for 30 years. Enough is enough. Upgrade our infrastructure now. Replace the clay pipes now. Please vote yes for the Luz Costa $4 million resolution today for the benefit of your citizens. No more kicking the can down the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Peg. Mr. Schmidt.
My name is Peg Messerschmidt. I live at 6 Hampton Street, just up the street from Frank here, and everything he's saying is true. We've been living with a flood situation ever since about July 4th. And after hearing some of the horror stories from last meeting, I just sat down and figured out what I spent in the past 2 years as these storms have been getting more frequent. And the sewers have been backing up into my basement. and it's been about $6,000. And that's nothing compared to what some people have been spending, but it's a burden. And I'm with Frank. We really need a timeline. We really need to know that this is going to get moved up and be made a priority. Everybody says get ready for climate change, but we've been kicking that can down the road for 40 years. We first started talking about global warming back when I was in college, for God's sake. And now it's here, and the infrastructure hasn't kept up, and this is going to end up forcing people out of our neighborhood if you don't get with it. So please, I'm going to keep an eye on this, so's Frank, and I think you're going to find a lot of other people will be too. So I hope you proceed with dispatch. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Hollywood?
Hi, my name is Karen Hollywood. I live at 46 Hampton Street. I was trying to think of a way to make this personal. I want to thank Frank for bringing all the statistics about the issue to the problem that we're having. As of October 1st, my husband and I will have been living in our home at 46 Hampton Street for 30 years. Over the past 20 years, we have spent untold thousands of dollars replacing washers, dryers, the hot water heater, putting in larger and larger sump pumps, having larger and larger drain wells built, dug into the basement of the concrete basement. We live in small homes, and part of the home that we would like to enjoy is some storage in the basement. I'm a critical care nurse. I've been working in critical care for 33 years, either at New Britain General, the old New Britain General, or now at Hartford Hospital. One of the things I do as stress relief is paint, and I love my paintings. I just brought a couple of them to show. They might look childish to you, but to me it's very stress relieving, and I can't tell you how many paintings I have lost due to flooding, because every time I think that the issue is fixed, it's not. We put bigger wells in, we put bigger sump pumps in, we're told it's all okay. These paintings were saved because they're small. I had much larger paintings in a large box that this summer got absolutely ruined, and I can never get that back. So, along with other personal items, all the utilities that we've lost, the washer, the dryer, and all of that we've had to replace, these things are not replaceable. Children's clothes, children's keepsakes are not replaceable. Our homes are small. My house is 1,200 square feet. It would be really nice to be able to use that basement space for storage, to be able to keep things like this safe for my children and my grandchildren. Unfortunately, unless this whole issue gets fixed, the system gets fixed, it's not going to happen. And we've done what we can as homeowners. We've upgraded our systems, put in the sump pumps, put in the drain wells, put in the, everything that we can, replaced everything. It's up to you all now. We're the taxpayers. It's our money. We're asking you to spend it in an appropriate manner. And I hope this just made it a little bit more personal for all of you than just replacing a washer and a dryer and a hot water heater. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there is no one else on the sign-up list. For those in the audience wish to speak, Mr. McNair.
Thank you, Majority Leader. John McNamara, 56 Brighton Street. I am here to urge approval of Resolution 6 and thank the Alderwomen for bringing it forth for the transfer of funds to Public Works, since no funding has been identified from year to year to start the project, Allen Street Phase 2, going back, I think, 6 fiscal years. This is one of the biggest trouble spots in the system. Needs to be made a priority, along with a plan to fix the Eaton Place Hampton subsystem that is causing so much grief for a couple of property owners you just heard from. I think the vote of contention is there's no funding for this. I think with this resolution, it suddenly appears there's $4 million to do it. And again, I urge you to adopt it. I just think there's been a lack of transparency and accountability around the infrastructure issue and around the funding issue that this council needs to be made aware of. The American Rescue Plan Act, adopted in March 21 from the Biden administration, gave the city $56 million. A bunch of things, good things, totaling, as near as I can tell, about $40 million of those dollars has been spent, although I think we need an update as to where all that money is. And in the act itself, it specifies 7 different priorities that cities and towns should consider. Paying premium pay for essential workers, recovering lost revenue from the pandemic, and one of the essential one is making necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. Noted money's been spent on broadband, but the critical infrastructure problem in the city right now is these pipes and dilapidated system. So I would like you to take a look at that. It will, I think the priority for the remainder of the ARPA monies needs to go to this critical infrastructure need. And I hope you can get a report on it at the very next meeting, and also press for a timeline. If you approve the money tonight, what's the timeline for it? You deserve to know. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, please. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Paquita Jarman Smith at 15 Wellington Street in New Britain, Connecticut. I've lived in my home for 16 years, and I'm in support of our neighborhood. I have had flooding in my home too, but not to the severity of the neighbors. Since July 4th, big storm, I lost sump pump. I had to pay for a new sump pump, pay for and replace all of the things that I lost in my basement, precious memories from my kids growing up, things that we use, to make our neighborhood look good, all of our decorations. So I really want and hope that New Britain will do the right thing for us as citizens. I see a lot of money being put into building homes to bring people in, but we need to take care of the folks that have been supporting all of you for the past however many years that we've been here in New Britain. This is not something that you should take slightly. Health and safety of young children and families. I'm a senior citizen. Respiratory illnesses, worries about the mold and the dampness, all of those things. So I really, really hope that whatever you need to do, that you do it. Because it's only going to make New Britain stronger when you think about and care for us as citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. My name is Mr. Harrison, 61 Trinity Street, and for the last 2 months, my basement has flooded like 3 times. And I'm in agreement with everybody sitting here right now. I do understand, as from speaking with the engineer of New Britain, that the pipe is smaller, and we understand the process. Now, all I need to understand, what is the short-term plan in rectifying the problem? Because you got people here going through it for 30 years, which don't make no sense. And I'm pretty sure we all sitting here, what is a short-term plan that's actually rectifying the issue? 61 Trinity Street is right next to the high school, and I'm at the lowest part of the street. And the design, based on the engineer, it just don't make no sense to me. The water comes down, to go to Main Street, to go uphill, to make right, to come back downhill. And I don't know if you guys understand what I'm going through. I'm going through the same thing that they're going through. 3 times. And every time the fire department comes out, they shut everything down. Now I lost a boiler, I lost that water tank, and I spoke to the mayor office. They said to me, I have to deal with it. And I'm just asking, what is the short-term plan in rectifying the issue? Now, I do understand the pipes are small, they hold, but what is the short-term plan moving forward? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Hi, Lynette Scapolati, 55 Brighton Street. My husband spoke here 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't going to speak, but I thought, well, short of signing a petition, you need to know that I am also one of the neighbors who is supporting this resolution to get our system upgraded. My daughter lives at 76 Hampton. As a matter of fact, on Friday, we're having some water mitigation trenches dug, sump pump upgraded for these issues that she's having. On Brighton Street, I came across some photographs from 1999, exactly the same problem that we've been having since July. From 1999, it's time to do something. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Francisco Melendez. I live at 52 Shadow Meadow Avenue in New Britain. My topic is a little bit different. I'm a single father of 2. I have physical custody of my children. They both were to reside with me at my residence. I have that signed by a court in Hartford, Connecticut. A couple weeks back, I also work with the court system, so I know how overwhelmed the court systems are when it comes to family matters. What's the judges, they are overwhelmed because I work with them. But a couple weeks ago, my child was taken out of state to a different state in Florida. I made a phone call to the New Britain Police Department because the mom refused to bring the child back, totally disregarded the court orders and everything that was said from the courts. And there is a law that's called parental interference. I'm real familiar with that law. When I called the New Britain Police Department, they came out, they made a report. They gave a phone call to the mom totally disregarded them. When I went and asked about the parental interference, the officer told me that the police department don't get involved in situations like that. It kind of threw me off a little bit because with the officers not getting involved, that leaves it up to me and mom, and it causes a big conflict. And that's something that's been going on, in the different communities for a long time. There's officers that don't want to apply laws, leave it up to the families, and that's how the turmoil starts. So that's one issue that I have. I've been trying to push that issue already for a couple weeks, and me being a single father, I kind of felt like I'm being overlooked because I'm a dad, and I'm being honest with you about that. I went to everywhere and anybody that I could have went to speak to. I also work with the Father Initiative program, and I still can't get help for that. Then I just need some answers on that and how to go about it. And the second thing I wanted to talk about was that me coming into the brand, I'm also a prevention specialist. And I know that DEMIS and the Governor's Prevention Program invested a lot of money into New Britain, into prevention. And when I look around, I see a lot of things that are going on, especially right there inside of the park where there's a lot of people still using drugs. I'm just questioning where the prevention part starts to kick in and when they're going to start working on the ground except for being in their offices, because a part of prevention is being proactive, not acting towards something that is already happening. So I know there's a lot of funds that is coming into the city for prevention, but by the way that things look, and I don't know what formula is being used, but it's not working. And those are my family members and close friends of mine that are out there inside of that park that need help. So if there's any way that you guys could, try to change that, look deeper into it, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? That's up. Second time, anyone else wish to speak? Third and final time, anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none here, is there any call-ins? None? Okay. Thank you. Public participation is now closed at 7:19 PM. Any council members wish to speak on what was addressed? Alderman Costa?
Good evening, everyone. It's always nice to see kind of a full room. Thank you all for coming out in support of our resolution this evening. You all inspired it. We do want the best quality of life. We love our city, and we want to make sure that we do continue to bring people into our city. We know how great it is, but we do want to make sure the folks that are here have the best quality of life for sure. So thank you for coming in tonight. We appreciate hearing from all of you. This is a first step in a long process. So we do need to keep asking questions, and we do need to make sure we understand the process, and we do need to make sure we have a timeline, and we're going to try to get some information for you tonight. But we do appreciate you being here. Thank you. And for you, I'm sorry, I didn't write your name down. I'm so sorry. What was your name? Menendez. Oh. Yeah, Mr. Menendez. We'll connect with you offline because there is an entire department dedicated to exactly the prevention that you're talking about. So I want to make sure that we connect you with the right people so that you're clear on really what our process is. We are passionate here about prevention. There is a whole process in place and really dedicated professionals who work across the community with a number of partners that are working vigorously, to fight this battle. So we are committed to that, and we're passionate about it. I want to make sure that you're in touch with the right people. And there's, I'm sure, a number of folks that you can speak to as well about your questions about your family relations. We'll look into it as well, but we'll follow up with that. So thank you. I can't do that, but thank you, though.
Thank you, Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, to the gentleman also. I didn't realize I guess that is a civil matter, even though she broke the law, apparently. The chief is sitting right in the back. He could probably explain more to you, than I can, and, maybe point you in the right directions. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Anyone else? Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
Thank you. I first want to thank the community in Ward 4 for holding this council accountable. I submitted the resolution number 6 on behalf of the residents in Ward 4, and probably also for myself, right, because I do live in Ward 4. I have, my brother lives on Stewart Street, not far away from you guys, so I'm sure if things don't get fixed, it's going to impact him eventually. Residents in Ward 4 should not have to sit and wait for a grant from the state. They've waited for way too long. I've been in communication with Senator Rick Lopes, which he's looking into the applications for the city. It's not fair for the residents to sit and listen to this back and forth. The city blaming the state delegation and the state delegation blaming the city. We should be about solutions and not blaming one another. I hope my colleagues pass this resolution and push the city to make sure the project begins sooner than later. I have a home and I have children, and I wouldn't want to live in fear of water entering my home, ruining my furniture, and most of all, interfering with the quality of life for my family. Our residents are hoping in your support on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. It is important. We do appreciate it. We know it's challenging, but hopefully we'll get there sooner than later. But thank you. Meeting will start shortly. Thank you.
If all Alder people make their way to their seats, please. Yeah. Mark, do you have, Mark, do you have any petitions or no? No.
Where will it go?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I call to order the September 27th, 2023 regular meeting of the Common Council. The time now is 7:26 p.m. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderpersons Dyson.
Here.
Ayalon. Catanzaro.
Here.
Costa. Hargraves. Malinowski.
Excused.
Ortiz Luna. Pabon. Russell. Rutkowski.
Excused.
Sanchez. Skirpo. Sagara. Thompson.
Excused.
Smedley.
Present.
11 present, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you. At this time, if you'd all please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. O God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the fall harvest. The shortening of daylight, the cool mornings, and the changing of leaf colors signals that the change of season is rapidly approaching. We look forward to Rogers Orchards, Carabin Farms, and the numerous country fairs to showcase their bounty. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. All right, there are no minutes this evening, so we'll move on to the amendments. Alderman Dyson.
There are
No amendments.
consent agenda. I make a motion to accept consent agenda of items A, B, C, E, and D.
Thank you. I have a motion by Alderman Dyson, seconded by Alderman Russell for the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh,
It's roll call.
excuse me, Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll? Sorry.
Okay.
That is a roll call vote.
So clarification, there was no minutes, there's also no amendments to the agenda?
That is correct.
Okay, and no petitions, okay. Okay, on the consent agenda, we have Alderpersons Dyson.
Yes.
Catanzaro.
Yes.
Costa. Hargraves. Ortiz Luna. Pabon. Russell. Sanchez. Skirpo. Sagara. Smedley.
Yes.
11-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Alderman Dyson for the first item.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 1.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. This is to accept a cooperative purchasing in the amount of $253,400 to BRYX Incorporated for the purchase and installation of replacement fire station alerting systems for all firehouses and the NBEMS headquarters, and I urge adoption.
Thank you. Alderman, is there any discussion on the item? Any questions? Thank you. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson for the second item.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 2.
Seconded by Alderman Russell.
Thank you. This is to accept the state contract A99-001 regarding $894,684,004 to Motorola Solutions for the purchase, programming, and installation of 69 NFPA-compliant portable radios and 9 mobile repeaters for the New Britain Fire Department, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any discussion on the item? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Thank you. Motion carries. Alderman Dyson for the third item.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Good thing I brought my glasses. Make a motion to accept, and I almost left them home. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 3.
Seconded by Alderman Pabon.
This is to accept and to go into authorization of a standing purchase order of $15.40 per cubic yard for the delivery of sand to the Public Works Department City Yard for snow coming, and ice control for the city streets during 2023 and 24 winter seasons to Hubert Butler Construction Company of Portland, Connecticut. It'd be nice to know we don't need it, but I got a funny feeling we probably will, and I urge adoption.
Thank you. Any discussion on the item? We definitely need the salt and sand. There's a lot of acorns on the ground, that means a lot of snow. All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson for the fourth item.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 4.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa.
This is to budget transfer for the fiscal year 2022-2023 as amended, and I will read it because of the numbers that are in here. Revenue, expenditure, encumbrance, and accrual activities for fiscal year 2022-2023 have concluded, unaudited. The city performed better than expected, leaving a $1,717,748 positive result of budgetary operations. The city has multiple accounts these results need to be transferred to in order to provide funding for the below items. $500,000 to be transferred into the city's BOE non-operating account to be utilized for the hiring of paraeducators to meet the need of additional enrolled special education students. $220,000 be transferred into account designated to fund the City Hall roof and window replacement project due to material cost overruns. $50,000 to be transferred into the account designated to fund new downtown parking infrastructure, and $947,748 to be transferred into the tax stabilization fund account to be utilized for future tax mitigation. The line item budgets to be proposed to adjust at both revenue and expenditure budgets, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any discussion, comments, or questions? Alderwoman Costa.
Mr. Pro Tem, thank you. I just wanted to echo, there's $500,000 going to the Board of Education to support hiring more paras who we desperately need to help with special education. And I think I'm excited about this allocation of money, particularly to education, and certainly I support it. And this is the way that we should spend overages in the city. So I'm happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Anyone else? Questions, comments, statements? All right, because this is a transfer of funds, it does require a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk?
Alderpersons Dyson.
Yes.
Catanzaro.
Yes.
Costa. Hargraves. Ortiz Luna. Pabon. Russell. Sanchez. Skirpo. Sagara. Smedley.
Yes.
11-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 5, Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 5.
Seconded by Alderwoman
Mr.
Costa.
Chair, refer.
Oh, this is a referral to PZH.
Oh, I'm sorry. I make
Thank
a
you.
motion to accept and refer to I got ahead of myself, to the Committee on Planning, Zoning, and Housing.
Seconded by Alderman Hargraves.
This is an amendment to Chapter 20.5 Special Districts of the Code of Ordinances. And we can discuss it at PZ and H.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor, or any discussion on the referral? Seeing none, we'll talk there. All those in favor of the referral signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman Ortiz Luna for the 6th item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 6.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa.
This is the transfer, to allow a transfer of no more than $4 million to Public Works Department account to help fund the Allen Street Drainage Improvement Project, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any discussion on the item? Alderman Canzaro.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. First of all, I rise in support of this wholeheartedly, and I really want to thank my colleague, Alderwoman Luna, for doing all the research and putting this forward, along with Alderwoman Costa being the co-signer. a long time coming. I've been on the council a long time. I was on from 2003 to 2011, and embarrassed to say that we heard there was some issues on Allen Street, but nothing to the extent that they are. So I'm sorry about that. So yes, I believe this is a priority. Should get done ASAP. We found the money. Let's get it done. I know I panic when I get a couple inches of water in my basement, so I can't even imagine, what you guys been going through. That's horrible. You shouldn't have to do that. So I'm sure it's going to pass, but I strongly urge adoption. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Thank you, Alderman. Any other discussion on the item? Alderwoman Sanchez?
Thank you. I just want to let them know that I'm in favor of the resolution, even though I was out of state. But, John gave me a call, and Luna approached me, Alderwoman Luna approached me too, so I'm in favor of it.
Thank you, Alderwoman. All right. Oh, yes, Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
Is there anyone here from Public Works to answer some questions?
Mr. Moriarty?
Good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you? So should this resolution pass, what would be the next step?
Let's see. I mean, if you're looking at us moving towards finalizing design drawings and going to construction, the design was completed, was completed in 2018. We'd have to revisit that. We'd have to redo survey. Considering how times have changed, or just things are getting worse, and the design storm that we accommodated, I want to look at the pipes. A 10-year storm is, there's no guarantee that we look and we put in pipes that accommodate a 10-year storm, that still wouldn't have flooding for larger storms. If we're going to go through and spend more than $7 million, I want to make sure what we put in the ground really accommodates. It's not going to accommodate everything, but it accommodates everything we possibly can. So we'd look at the design. We did have a design completed for Allen Street, which will help, but to really complete a set of design drawings and have bid documents would probably take us into summer next year, probably a bid next fall of the project. And I know construction would go into 2025.
Okay, I thought we could have started this way sooner than this. I mean, so the $7 million, I mean, I'm sure that can help to kind of start the project, get it started.
Yeah, I mean, we would, to do a $7 million project, there's a lot of design work required, and things are different things that are different. We have to really look at this design and make sure that it's going to best accommodate. I don't want to just go out there quickly, pull the trigger on something that still has problems. So there's $7 million is, let's say, that would be the third largest projects we've ever done. The only one that was slightly bigger, only a little bit bigger, was BI Bridge as far in our public works yard. So, this will be one of the most significant, and it's a very complicated project because managing, you gotta think about this. When we're replacing the pipe during storms, we have to be able to accommodate all of the water that would be needed to run through the storm system. So any day you do work on that storm system, by the end of the day, you have to have it back in place and be able to handle any kind of storm water coming through. And the depth of some of the work there, because the storm system does run counter to grade, so while the road's going up, the pipes are continuing to flow down by gravity, and it gets very deep, and it's deep in rock. So it's 21 feet deep, has some of the deepest spots. It's a complicated project, and managing stormwater while we're replacing the storm system, and the project also involves replacing the sanitary sewer. It's not just replacing the stormwater, there's also issues with the sanitary sewer. So, if you talk to anybody, that's like a very quick time to turn over a project of this size. Most projects, like from design to control, take years. Everybody in this room wants to be able to fix this problem as quickly as possible. I don't think there's a single person anywhere that doesn't want to address this. And when here's any of the residents come up, like, everybody wants this addressed, but we want to have it addressed and just the highest possible level that we possibly can. It will take a little time.
Yeah, which, of what I heard, our residents do know that it's not going to get fixed quickly. I think they kind of just want movement on the project. So hopefully this resolution passes and it'll help you fund the project.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Pro Tem. Okay, I'm not an engineer. Just kind of explain to me, if we already did the study in 2018, correct?
Yeah.
So we just want to upgrade it, right, like I said, I'm not an engineer, but it's not like we're starting all over again. So what would be the big change? We're putting in a bigger pipe. We'd have to divert the water in your plans in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really get, I agree we want to do it right, absolutely. But a year and a half, I don't, I can't understand that. So
Okay.
can you explain that to me, please?
We're gonna have to go out, we're gonna have to update we're gonna have to hire somebody to update the survey, we're gonna have to go out and update the complete survey. We're gonna hire a consultant to do, rerun drainage calcs, rerun the analysis, make sure all that takes a lot of time. And the other thing is the consultant firms, like we're dealing with this constantly right now. There's a lot of money available right now, and every consultant that we're dealing with is just so backed up on their workload that we're having a difficult time. It's funny, the first time ever we're having like these engineering consultant firms choosing not to accept work because they can't accept it because they have too much workload, and they'd rather not accept it than take on your work and have it take too long. So it's, I just don't think it's appropriate for me to come up here and overcommit to something that I can't deliver on.
I understand, whatever you can do to expedite this, I'm sure you will.
For sure.
They've been waiting a long time, and, it is a big problem. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you. Alderwoman Costa.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Mr. Moriarty, can you take us through each of the steps? So we understand that the design has to be redone. How long does that take, approximately? Because we need accountability measures in place at this point. That is what our residents are looking for. So these are the questions that we're looking to get answered. I'm not expecting complete accuracy, but estimates are really important because they're going to come back and visit us in 2 months. They're going to come back and visit us in 4 months. They're going to continue to come back until the project is complete. So if we can give them a timeline and set some expectations for them, we reduce some of their anxiety about the project and its completion, ensuring that it is going to get done, but they do need to understand the steps in the process. So the first step is to revisit the design. How long does that take?
The very first thing I have to do is I have to get a consultant to give me a proposal to look at redoing the design.
Fair.
And that's
How long
gonna-
does that take? Approximately.
I don't know, 3 weeks, could take a month.
Okay.
And then I have to have a resolution passed to you guys to have that passed. And then the consultant needs to, typically for this large of a project, they don't have people just like sitting around waiting to start it, so they have to work that into their workload. And
when does, so a month for a redesign
Yeah.
hire. Then they're going to go out and they're going to look at the redesign. We're going to pass it, right? We're going to go out and redesign or revisit the design, which may not change at all. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what this requires, but there could be little to no change in the design. So, okay, we get the design done. Then what's the next step in timeline?
I mean, we're gonna have to put together bid documents. We're gonna, I mean, with any hope in all, I mean, because we are the best case scenario with us looking at this, I would hope we're all at the same time pushing forth to try and get one of these grants to come in, so it actually is paid for by a grant. Ideally, if we're pushing very hard on the 2 grants we have out, we'll be able to get one of those and then incorporate that into our design. And I don't know. It's
Right,
gonna,
but the money part, we're
Yeah.
resolving, right? They need to know when things are going to happen, when they're going to be completed. These are people who live underwater right now.
Yeah.
So we need to help them understand what they can expect and the timeline they can expect
and I
this work to be done
explained
in.
that, honestly. I've explained this. And if you want me to give you a detailed schedule,
Yeah,
I can.
can you
I
do
can,
that?
but I will.
Yeah, that
I
would
think,
be great.
I think for giving you a detailed schedule, I should be asked in advance about that, so I could actually put something together and give it some thought, and not just be winging it off the top of my head. 'Cause
We've
I
had
think-
several conversations about this, Mr. Moriarty. This is no surprise to you, and these folks have been coming here for years. So I
Honestly,
would
this is-
appreciate a detailed schedule. That would be appropriate. Thank you very much, and we can share that with our residents. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Alderwoman. All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Alderman Hargreaves for item number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Temp. I make a resolution to accept and adopt resolution number 7.
Seconded by Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
This resolution is to authorize the Parks and Rec Department to utilize Keystone Purchasing Network to upgrade the lights at Walnut Hill Park for the tennis courts as well as the pickleball courts over there. They'll be using Musco Sports Lighting LLC. I actually drove by Walnut Hill Tennis Courts and I see the lights that are there now. It's like just one light attached like a telephone pole, and these courts are widely used, so I think it'll definitely benefit the users of the park to upgrade the lights there, so I do urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any further discussion on the item? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson for item number 8.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 8.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. This is to accept an authorization to enter into professional services agreement with PMA Management Corporation New England for the administration of City and Board of Education general liability claims, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Alderman Canzaro.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. First, I want to commend the Corporation Counsel, Attorney Bizzaro, and the Assistant Attorney Pekorski for letting me talk their ear off a couple days ago. Because anytime I see anything like this where we're going to send work out or privatize, I get concerned. But it was explained to me it's strictly administrative work, paperwork. They still have to come before the Claims Committee. If it ends up where it has to go to court, it comes back to our Corporation Counsel. And the limits that are in our rules, we still have to say if it goes over. So we are not losing any control over the amount. It's basically paperwork. And one of the reasons they tried to hire a second paralegal, which probably would have, helped a lot with this. They put it out twice and got no reasonable candidates. Attorney Bizzaro is here. He can probably explain it a lot better than I can, but I'm okay with this. That's the bottom line. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Alderman. Attorney Bizzaro.
Good evening, everybody. So, for those of you that don't know, PMA has been our third-party administrator for workers' comp claims for the city for just about almost 9 years now. And during that time, they've saved us significant amounts of money. What you have before you is a resolution which will essentially just expand the scope of that partnership to cover general liability claims as well. And the way it would work is, the way Alderman Canzaro described, it's all going to be done within the existing framework that we have in place now. So what I want all of you to understand is that there will still be the standing claims subcommittee. You'll still have complete control and authority over settling any claims that are over $5,000. My office still has the same authority that I do now under the ordinances to settle any claims that are below that threshold. So none of that will change. What will change is the way the claims are handled in the first place. So the trend is definitely toward specialized claims management. The PMA has been able to save the city lots of money over the years, and that's because, quite frankly, they do it better than we can. They're specialists. This is what they do. They know the field better. They can do it more efficiently. They have economies of scale. They've got resources that we don't have, and they're able to underwrite and address these claims a lot easier than we are. The benefit to my office that Alderman Catanzaro was mentioning is secondary. It is, in fact, it has in fact been difficult for us to hire somebody. We've been looking for somebody, but that's sort of secondary. The idea here is that the savings to the city will more than offset the costs of the arrangement with PMA. We don't get, for our size municipality, we don't get that many claims anyway. The way the contract will work is it'll be done on a per claim basis, with the city paying anywhere between, on average, $500 to $1,000 per claim, depending on the type of claim, with the option to convert that to a flat fee depending on the number of claims and whether the economics make sense for us. With us tonight from PMA are Dominic Perno, Vice President, and Ray Ashton, who's Senior Litigation Specialist. And these guys have been doing this for municipalities around Connecticut for many years. And I'd like to invite them up and maybe just say a few words about what it is that they've done, what they think they can do for the city, and then if anybody has any questions, we're happy to answer them. Thank you.
Gentlemen?
Thank you, General. Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to come before you. As General mentioned, I came before a council about 9-10 years ago, and you guys took a chance on PMA, and it was an extremely great partnership. Within our first 5 years, I think the budget line item for workers' compensation was like $18 million in outstanding liabilities. Within 5 years, we got that down to $9 million. As far as paid losses go, in the first 5 years, we saved you $3.2 million. So when he talks about specialization, expertise, that is what we do. And it's been an extremely great partnership. I think if you spoke to the staff in Gennaro's Corporation Counsel's office now, they're grateful that they made this change and for what it's done to the city and the money that it's saved. And like Gennaro said, we're not here to replace anyone. We're here to assist, give you efficient processes to resolve claims. We have better technology. We're going to give you a better underwriting portfolio for your broker who places your excess liability coverage. All the carriers and the brokers really would prefer to work with the TPA because they're going to get better data reports. They know us a little bit better, and it's going to lower your premiums in that area as well, not just mitigate the costs. As Gennaro mentioned, we have over 25, 30 municipalities. We currently perform these functions now. I did want to bring my colleague up who is a litigation specialist, and we would be working with the city's Corporation Counsel office because he works this stuff day in and day out. And to provide just a couple examples to you of how we get savings and how we've done this with other municipalities. His name is Ray Ashton, litigation specialist.
Welcome, Mr. Ashton.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. One of the examples that I was talking to Gennaro about, I wanted to share is a live example that recently happened with another municipality. It's a bodily injury claim. the person was injured. They had neck and back injuries, herniated discs to their neck. I got all the medicals from, first I asked the municipality and the town attorney that was handling the claim if I could get involved and speak with the plaintiff counsel on this and try to gather the information and see if I could negotiate a settlement with them, because we were 100% at fault. What ended up happening was he allowed me to do that, and I gathered all the medicals from them, and he initially felt that the claim had a value of $90,000 to $120,000 based on the injuries. I got the medicals, I read through them, I saw that the person had previous incidents and accidents. We run what's called an ISO report, so we can find out about prior injuries and prior accidents that they may have. And there was an accident that he had on probably a year prior to that. Also reading that, he's a mechanic and he had workers' comp claims, and he had a hood fall on his head. He hurt his neck on that. So these are the types of things that we did. I spoke with the attorney who had made a $300,000 demand, and I said to him that it's all soft tissue injuries that I see. He had a workers' comp claim because he was driving a vehicle, test driving a vehicle at the time. So he was treating with an acupuncture, he was treating with physical therapy, and also chiropractor, so his bills were somewhere in around $50,000 paid by, and his lost wages through workers' comp. There was no lien on this claim. But what ended up happening was that I spoke to them, and I said to him, it's a soft tissue injury. I don't see where this is worth $300,000. In fact, I look at it as less than $100,000. Longer story short, we ended up settling the claim for $50,000. So from all the things that I did with running ISO reports and having prior incidents, I was able to save what the town was going to pay, 90 to 120. He's a capable person. It's just that he doesn't do it for a living, and that's what we do for a living, is we evaluate these claims, we know the plaintiff counsels, and we could have conversations with them on things that maybe they don't do as often as we do. Another claim, and I'll try to make this one quicker, is a police claim that I had, and it was an excessive force claim. So with an excessive force claim, you have to have a representation for the officers, and you also have to have representation for the city and/or town. So in that claim, I got hold of the videos and all the evidence that was there, and I spoke with the attorney that was hired to represent the officers, and I said, I see a lot of things here that aren't very good. And under federal law and federal claims, you have to have damage analysis, and the plaintiff counsel on the other side. And the injuries were real to this person. They weren't made up injuries. I'm not going to get into all the details that happened there, but it was obvious that this person had an excessive force claim that was valid. The damages were $150,000 that he proposed, and I said to them, before you spend $50,000, $40,000, $60,000 in defense costs for your attorney representing them and yourself on the other side, maybe you should sit down and try to resolve this claim. There was videos that I got for body cams that showed that they were trying to hide what they were doing. I'm not going to get into who that was or the details, but anyway, longer story short on that one, I recommended going in front of a magistrate at the federal court, and we were able to resolve that claim for $40,000, which the defense cost alone or litigation costs would have been approximately $50,000 to $60,000 if this was litigated through. And so those are a couple examples. If there's any questions on what I just said, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for the gentleman? Alderwoman Costa?
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I actually have a question for Mr. Bizzarro. Thank you
Okay,
very
thank
much.
Good evening.
So thank you. I appreciate the clarification. I wasn't sure what we were doing here. I only have one question. This seems to be a good strategy. Resourceful TPAs with specialization, helping us manage some of these claims appears to be effective and in a lot of ways, mostly cost. But is this partnership coming out of your budget? How is this being paid for?
No, it's not, Alderwoman. So the way it'll work is this is going to come out of the city's claims budget. So we set aside every single year, we set aside a certain sum for payment of claims. Within that budget, we have different line items for administrative costs, for payments of settlements and things of that nature. And this is being done within the existing budget that's already been allocated, already been approved by this council. So, you know, again, the idea, the takeaway should be that they're going to supplement rather than replace anything that the city is doing right now. And the plan would be that we would realize cost savings, and so you wouldn't really see any net effect on the general fund. You know, and that's how it's worked in practice with the workers' comp side of things, and we anticipate that it'll work the same exact way here.
Okay, so your budget is not impacted?
Correct.
Are you going to continue to try to hire another?
Yes,
paralegal?
that's a wholly separate issue. We
Yeah.
we've posted that position twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know you need support, I just want to make sure I understand where the numbers
Yeah.
are and where they're coming from. So thank you, I appreciate the
It's a wholly separate issue. We have posted that position twice. If anybody knows, we are looking for an experienced litigation paralegal in the Corporation Counsel's Office, City of New Britain. Thank you.
Alderman Segura.
Yes.
Yes, how long is this agreement going to take?
So it'll be a 3-year agreement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Canzaro.
Thank you. It was more of a statement to the management of PMA. I'm one of your workers' comp cases. I'm retired from the city. I have 2 bad knees. And, you know, to a lot of employees, you know, it's not a good experience, whether it's with Corporation Counsel or with your firm. Maybe because I'm just a nice guy, I don't know. But I've been dealing with, I was trying to find their name because we've been emailing, and I can't find it, of course. But I did tell Attorney Pekorski to tell her she's been outstanding. She's been absolutely outstanding. So I was getting, you know, I get shots in my knees. I'm not ready for surgery. Whether I get that or not, I don't know yet. But I get the shots in my knees. Now we're going to do some physical therapy, you know, which she okayed, like right away. And this happened a long time ago. So I've been dealing with this for a while. So I just wanted to say, for me, it has been a very positive experience, where I was very skeptical. I'm a big union guy. Every time we lose jobs to a private firm, I get, you know, a little touchy. But I just want to tell you personally that, as far as I'm concerned, I've had a very good experience with your company. So thank you.
Very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Hargraves.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Just want to say thank you. I had a lot of questions at first coming into this, so Attorney Bizzaro and the representatives, you definitely explained everything and how it will be cost-effective to the city. It'll be great. We're not taking away anybody's job or anything, and I know that that office is a little understaffed, so any help that they can get can help mitigate anything, because there's just so much going on throughout the city, throughout the days and the years. So looking forward to the partnership as long as this passes, and thank you. Thanks for the information.
Thank you, Alderman Hargraves. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Alderman Skirpo for item number 9.
Through you, Mr. Pro Tem. Tonight's resolution, $45,000 to CDW.
Sorry, I need a motion. I need a motion.
Oh, make a motion for $45,000 to go to CDW government for the purchase.
Sir, I need a motion to accept and adopt, please. You have to say that.
Motion to accept and adopt
Thank
item
you.
number 9.
Seconded by Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
$45,000 to CDW government for purchase of an uninterrupted power supply system for City Hall's new server room. I urge adoption.
Thank you. Any discussion on the item? This is to ensure that the generator transfer works smoothly on our equipment. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson for item number 10.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 10.
Seconded by Alderman Russell.
This is for the City of New Britain to enter an agreement with Environmental Systems Corporation through Eversource's Connecticut Electric Vehicle Charging Rebate Program so that they can install in our city garages 1 EV charging station level 3 and 1 EV charging station at the Stanley Golf Course. The program would include an incentive rebate of $309,846.21 that significantly reduces the total project cost for the city to a total of $54,375 for the two. The project would be funded by the Facilities and Energy Division and the Parks Capital Project for the one at Stanley. And I know for me as a 9-month electric vehicle owner, priority number one is where are the charging stations and what their capacity is. So I strongly agree with them and I urge adoption.
I'm sure former Alderman Salino is very excited about
Yes.
this resolution. Any other discussion on the item? All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, seconded by Alderman Russell. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 8:06 PM. Thank you, everyone.